Thank you, you may be seated. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda.
I second.
Mr. Biggs?
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
check our mics, please?
Yes, ma'am. To let you know too, it's not connecting to Facebook, but I will record and post it afterwards.
Thank you. We need to,
The camera's not connecting to Facebook. I'll have to upload it after the meeting and just connect your microphones.
all right. I have a motion and a second, but I would like to amend the agenda to include, the naming of the, high school gym. It was on the work session and it was removed. Mr. Big, would you like to explain?
Yes, ma'am. It was removed at the time that we didn't have but we definitely move forward by annual.
I second the motion.
I need to amend, because I requested that we amend it.
I move that we amend the agenda to include the naming of our high school gym.
Second motion.
I have a motion and a second to amend the agenda to include the naming, the recommendation of the naming committee. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I would like to do it after, the technology, update of Mr. Biggs, because I think that's why the air is here. Is that correct? At this time, we'll have an update by Mr. Robert Biggs.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm not going to go through all of this word for word, but I do want to share very quickly some things that have happened recently. One of the big things that have happened in the last 2 weeks is we had a switch at central office that actually lost connectivity. It was replaced last Thursday night. So due to the SLCGP grant, the cybersecurity grant, we actually had those switches and we were able to use one of those grant switches to replace equipment that went down, and it is currently back up and running. We've installed 83 out of 100 wireless access points. We have reserved a few of those access points for the Summit Edition. We also have kept 9 available to be used for state testing if for some reason the building coverage is not where it's supposed to be. Right before our spring break, we had a significant increase of phishing and spam emails. We actually went through a procedure with the Cyber Crimes Unit in Jackson, and we did a staff-wide reset for all of our teachers and staff to make sure that that wasn't going to continue. We've actually gotten 50 new computers in as part of the SLCGP grant. Those will be going to campuses that qualify for them. They've actually been paid and tagged, and they should start going out within the next week. The only other thing I left on here that I'll leave y'all to look at is it was mentioned to me during the work session and actually the last board meeting. It appears that our technology budget is a lot higher than it actually is. A lot of the money that's there actually goes toward curriculum software, not for district upgrades or infrastructure. So about 70% of my budget this year was actually for software that students use and not for technology issues district-wide. So if y'all have any questions, just let me know and I'll be happy to answer them.
Dr. Burks?
Okay. Would you restate that on the budget?
Okay, so during the time of COVID, we had a lot of internet devices and internet services so the kids could have learning at home. It was paid out of ESSER money or other federal funds. Well, when that money went away, the district absorbed that and it actually got put into my budget. So I have things like Renaissance, Instructure, and other software that really isn't technology or infrastructure, it's curriculum or student use for the schools. And it's remained in that budget since that money went away. So looking at my budget funds for the start of the school year, it looks like I have a lot of money. A lot of it, though, wasn't really technology, it was curriculum software for the schools and student use.
I'm confused how it got misaligned, in other words.
That was years before my time, so I couldn't answer that. I did give you a graph, it's an estimation. It looks like here, if you can see that the curriculum and federal programs budget versus the technology budget, quite a bit difference.
Okay. So, in our work session, I also mentioned the fact that we want to see about these external resources such as the, external opportunities for technology. And we said that we're going to look at how we're going to submit our E-rating.
Yes. The superintendent has not, this coming summer, I have to meet with him before the summer starts. We're going to start looking at where his goal is for the E-rate projects for category 2 spending. Our category 1 money is already spent. We have contracts either through 28 or 30. So that's already in place and I can't change it yet at all. That's VoIP, that's internet access, that's WAN access, that's done. Now the category 2 money would be upgrade money, I think Dr. Burns that you're talking about. This would be projects like recabling or other projects of that scope. Mr. Vick and I this summer are going to look and determine what that first set of projects are going to look like and whether they'll be limited to one school or possibly even district line.
Okay, so I think what we need to do is make sure so that each board member is aware of what is technology and what is being spent. Otherwise, if we just know exactly what technology is being expended for, then I think that would be a better understanding. Everybody knows what goes under your umbrella.
So normally
for a later date.
Yes, sir. Normally for E-rate, it requires an RFP. Those projects are usually bigger than the $75,000 cap. So those come before the board anyway. Those are going to come before you before those projects get approved.
And my last question is, do we foresee any discrepancies or issues when it comes to state testing?
All right, so as of right now, I mentioned this to Mr. Vick, we have had some issues with slower internet in the schools. I just got an email from DRC today, Ms. Candace Morris, our DT City, actually emailed it out. And MDE said that DRC is having connection issues and they're having trouble with connections from the devices to their service. So what I thought was 100% of a cone issue is not. It's also occurring on the state side. So we've done everything we could to mitigate that. That's why we replaced the switches last Thursday night. I stayed till 4:30 Friday morning with Mr. Woodall to make sure that happened. That's all we put in other measures at the schools. Today, Mr. Vick and I set up some of the new wireless access points that are now blocking all social media access to the student Wi-Fi. So there's no way you can get on it at all as of this afternoon. Everything we can do, we've done to make sure there's as smooth an experience as possible. But will there be issues? Yes, sir, there probably will be. But there'll be a team in place. Mr. Burkett, Ms. Johns, myself, Ms. Morris will be addressing the schools tomorrow morning before it starts to make sure those kids have the best experience possible.
And I want to add to this bid, one thing we're doing tomorrow, Mr. Burris, while our scholars are testing, we're going to have minimum usage across the district and other students, so that they will have full as much access as possible.
Sorry.
Correct this bid?
Yes, sir. So what was recommended this afternoon was that unless you're testing as a student, we want all other student use to be minimized until after testing is finished to make sure they have the best bandwidth possible to have their testing and done in a proper way.
Any more questions for Ms. Biggs? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
At this time, is the amendment naming of the building, Dr. Burks?
This time, we would like to call our mayor of Macomb City, Mr. Claudine Lockley, to present to us the summarization of the decision of naming committee.
Mayor?
Madam Chair, Vic Board of Trustees. On April the 2nd, 2026, the Building Facility Renaming Committee met to discuss the renaming of the Macomb High School gym, now called Tiger Den. We discussed the process for selecting and renaming a school district building and/or facility. Established the need. Macomb School District established the need. Formation of a committee. The Macomb School District established the committee. The committee consists of the following individuals: Monica Dillon, James Jenkins, Mark Lane, yours truly, and Lynn Martin. Define the scope of the criteria. Macomb School District determined that the high school gym, Tiger Den, was eligible for renaming. Gathered input and suggestion. It was shared with the committee that the Macomb School District received input from the community. Research and review. The committee discussed if there was any historical or cultural significance to the building. It was determined there were none. The short listing and deliberation. The committee was given the short list for consideration, which consists of Mr. Bobby Nelson and Mr. Hilton Harold. After a lengthy deliberation, we decided to do some additional research, and we said that we would vote on Monday, April the 6th, 2026. Final selection and recommendation to the Macomb Board of Trustees. The committee members submitted his or her vote, and each vote is listed here. Monica Dillon, Hilton Harold; James Jenkins, Hilton Harold; Mark Lane, Bobby Nelson; Cordelia Lockley, Hilton Harold; Lynn Martin, Hilton Harold. It is with great honor and pleasure to recommend to the Macomb School District Board of Trustees the naming of the Macomb High School gym after Mr. Hilton Harold. And we have a comprehensive report attached to this report here.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'd like to pass this on.
You can give it to me, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to accept or deny the committee's recommendation?
So,
To
to
accept?
accept.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second to accept the recommendation of the committee. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
I need to prepare a resolution for the board to adopt it.
Okay. Did everybody hear what Attorney Day said? We passed the recommendation of the committee. Next board meeting, we will have a resolution to adopt it, officially. So when she prepares, she'll adopt, we'll bring it back and adopt the resolution officially. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have schools at risk, Ms. Shanita Woods, Higgins Middle School.
Monthly school board update, April 13th, 2026, Macomb School District, Higgins Middle School, school identification, CSI. Our current accountability points is 348. We which has Higgins at a letter grade C. Our school goal for this year was 460, which would be an A. Our percent proficient in reading that is needed is 45%. Growth for all in reading, 70. Growth of the bottom 25, 70. Our math proficiency, 55. Our goal for our math growth, 75%. And our goal for the growth of the bottom 25, 75%. Science proficiency, the goal is 70% with a participation rate of 100. When we look at our end of the year assessment results, the assessment was National Connect, and it was a comprehensive assessment for reading, math, and science. Our proficiency in reading was 38.9. Our growth for all in reading was 54. Our percent growth of the bottom 25 was 52.2%. In math, our proficiency was 47.8. Our percent growth of all, 68.5. And our percent growth of the bottom 25 is 58.5. Our science proficiency came in at 56.7, and that was with a participation rate of 100%. When we look at our April 2026 data, which is the data for the month of March, our total school enrollment was 264 students. Our student ABA was 91.71%. Our percent of students with 2 or more absences was 25.8%. Our teacher attendance rate was 96.1%. We had 47 discipline referrals, with only one of them being bus. Our fiscal year 2026 total allocations is 63,476. Our 25 total allocations is 73,454. And for fiscal year 24, total allocations was $81,934. And there's a balance of $6,934. Any questions?
Question. When we look at our discipline referrals, you have here, there were 47 discipline referrals, with only one taking place on the bus. I think my question, Mr. Vick, is whether or not the discipline referrals reported here match what we have later on in our data. So it matches.
That's the truth, man.
Okay, thanks.
And sometimes I will say with the bus referrals, depending upon what they did on the bus, may be classified as something else. So it may not be just a bus violation, because if it's a fight, it will be coded as a fight. And so it won't fall necessarily under bus.
Okay, because I see where in October of last year, we had 15, as many as 15, and at one point, it went from 6, 5, 0, 12, 4, and then 1 on the school bus.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's, well, all of it is disruptive, but anyway, thanks.
Any more questions?
The goal is to reach that 112 difference in the achievement balance. What have we have in place, those things that are necessary in order to achieve that?
Well, since we got our bench 3 data back, which is, we have, this data is on the new cut scores for the accountability model, which we all know that those cut scores increase. And so what we have been doing is really truly using our interventions. And so we have been doing interventions on a large scale to make sure that kids are getting exactly what they need. We're doing interventions within classrooms. We're doing reviews. We're doing camps, so that the students who we lost, we can make sure that we have a chance to get them back before the actual test.
Okay, but what about the lower percentile?
Those are the students that
Those are,
we,
okay,
yes, sir.
so in other words, are you saying that you have what you need?
Yes, sir, we do, and we're working. We have 2 weeks today until our math assessments again, and so we have a lot of things that we're putting in place. We are doing strategies. Our teachers are incorporating test-taking strategies within the lessons that they're doing during their review. I was in several classrooms today, and teachers are literally telling them, when you see this, this is what you need to do. When you see that, this is what you need to do. So we are pinpointing, fine-tuning little bitty things that will help us get that 112 points.
And we have parental support.
We do, yes. Any more questions?
Thank you, Ms. Wood.
Thank you, Ms. Wood.
Thank you. Next, we have Deming Principal, Mr. Well.
I look report for Deming Junior High School board meeting April 13, 2026. District was Macomb School District. Our school is Deming Junior High School. School identification is TSI. The current accountability points are 242 L. Initially we were at reading proficiency 20.9, growth of all 36.3, growth of the bottom 25 was 49, and math we were at 29%, 39.7 growth of all, and 42.1 growth of the bottom 25. Science we had 25% proficient, participation rate was 95% grade. Our last benchmark we currently took was comprehensive math, reading, math, and science. For reading, we had 26.4 proficiency, 33.1 growth of all, 38.8 growth of all, and math, we had 40.2 proficiency, 39.2 growth of all, 26.5 growth of under 25, and 47.1% in science, 95% greater participation rate. For the month of March, our total enrollment was 288. Student 88 was 90.8. Number of students with 2 or more absences was 36.63. Teacher attendance rate, 94.1. Number of disciplinary referrals was 41. Allocation for the 26 school years, $36,272, which paid out the year 25-0 and year 24-0.
Any questions for Deming Principal? Ms. Hall.
My concern is the absence, like, we are trending up instead of trending down, so what are we doing to what is the plan?
We're actually on each morning now, we have a list that's actually in the cafeteria. And so the students are coming through, we're working with them, making sure they're getting there. We're also reaching out to parents to find out why students are actually absent. Some of it has been due to being sick or whatnot, but we're working with them to make sure they're there and they're on time.
That's when we discussed about the truth officer, has that officer taken place?
Yes, and they have actually started really going out and having quarter experience with the last several weeks. And I think if we continue to do that, that's going to help a lot too. That had not been taking place in the past.
Any more questions? Dr. Murphy?
What about our, what's the goal?
We want to get to a system.
You know what I'm saying? Figure number. Last thing we have, I know that you've been doing quite a bit as far as intervention is concerned. Do you have resources that you need, particularly for professional environment?
Any more questions? Ms. Marshall?
I don't necessarily have question, Mr. Wells, but when I attended the event that we had the other evening with our speaker, Dr. Mabry, the occasion that you did was outstanding. Yes, sir. And I tend to look at parent engagement as an ongoing entity of ours, not just a one-time, we're gonna serve donuts and whatever. I just wish that we could have captured what you said and put it on our website, because it speaks to all of our parents, not just the ones at Denman, but it speaks to the sacrifices that parents make. And I don't know if we were able to capture that or not, but I just felt like that needed to have been on our website. And I just wanted to commend you for allowing the public, not just me, but the public to see where your heart is in terms of parent engagement, because we can't do anything without our parents. So thanks.
You know,
Marvelous.
any more questions? Thank you, Ms. Wells. At this time, we have curriculum data update by Ms. Sophie Butler.
Good evening, everybody. We want to tonight take a look at our third benchmark data, also known as our final comprehensive data. As it has been mentioned by Ms. Woods and Mr. Wells, that this was our comprehensive exam, including all standards that have been taught in all subject areas across the board for the entire year. We have prepared the data slides for you, and as we go from slide to slide, I will explain the information that's on each slide, and it's for our testing grades. Kennedy is on here, as well as starting with grades 3 through high school. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. On each slide, you will see a comparison for bench 1, 2, and 3 for the course of the school year. We've done a comparison looking back to last year's benchmark 3 during that time frame to benchmark 3 this year. So you'll see a last year column, you'll see a 2020-60 grid that will show the current data for the benchmark data that took place this year. So for Kennedy Elementary, they take the benchmarks twice a year. Their first benchmark is taken in December, and then they take the second one before spring break with the rest of the school district. So on each slide, you will see number of scholars tested, and on Kennedy's slide, there's only proficiency because those students, of course, do not have a prior test scoring year to be compared to. So we look at their proficiency overall. I will yield after each slide so that principals may come forward if they want to answer any questions that you all may have. All right, so Kennedy Elementary, for 2026, 118 students were tested in ELA at 41.5% proficiency, and for math, 115 students were tested and the proficiency is at 37.4%. Dr. Walker, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Just that we're working diligently every day with our students. We're doing Rise and Roar, and we're working hard with Lexia and Iris, making sure that the students are on for their allotted amount of time, checking the learners and making sure that we deliver those certificates.
Anyone have any questions for Dr. Walker? Thank you.
All right, so moving on to Ogden Elementary. Last time when we met, we showed the board the actual cut scores that were raised across the state of Mississippi. So we talked about having projections the next time we came back. So each slide, just say for instance with Ogden here, we're going to give a grade level projection for the 2026 school year. There's a little note here that I put, there were no grade level projections for the 24-25 school year. Last year and prior years before that, Macomb School District had their own in-house tool that we used to look at data. We input the data ourselves. So we never did it by grade level projections, but we did do it by school. So this year, where you see down in the little lighted box here, for 2026, these projections are provided to us by grade level, by Equity Analytics, which we just got this school year. So we're able to show you by grade level and by school level. So for third grade, looking at the data for ELA, 119 students were tested. Proficiency is at 29.4%, growth for all at 87.5%, and bottom quartile is at 87.5% as well. Please be reminded that these percentages are high, which is great, but this is for our retained students, which is not a very big population of students. So that's data growth that we're getting for students who were retained in the third grade last year, and they are repeating. So that's where that data growth is coming from. In math, 120 students, were tested. Proficiency there was 35%. Growth for all was 100%, and the bottom quartile was at 100%. So those students who retained, they actually did a good job of growing here in those two categories. So, as I mentioned, no grade level results were from last year, but this year, Equity Analytics provided us with the school grade level projection, and it is an A for third grade right now, okay? Anything want to be added about this slide? Okay. Okay, so looking at fourth grade in Ogden. So we'll see the number tested. You can see the number tested for proficiency there in fourth grade ELA is at 44.4%. Growth for all is at 48.3%. Bottom quartile is at 51.4%. So moving over to math, which you can see how many tested. For math, proficiency is at 47.8%. Growth for all is at 56% even, and bottom quartile is at 29.8%. So a grade level projection for fourth grade right now is at a letter D. Okay? So with Ogden having grades 3 and 4, now we look at the overall slide combined for Ogden Elementary as a whole. So looking at the number, when we talk about this is combining third and fourth grade students for ELA, and then also combining third and fourth grade students for math. So for proficiency this year, you have for ELA is at 35.9%. Growth for all is at 50.8%. Bottom quartile is at 60.4%. Moving over to math, 40.5% proficiency for math, 58.9% for growth for all, and bottom quartile is at 38.5%. So looking over at our school projection box, last year, as I mentioned, we did have it for school level. So for school level last year, it was predicted at around a level D, and we're talking benchmark to benchmark. It's not that, but benchmark last year was at a level D, and the actual school projection for this year benchmark is also at a level D. Okay. So, and last year when we looked at our projections from the benchmarks, also are our main focus that we do was to prepare for the actual math. And so we always kind of go back and see how close or how far we were off when we actually get the real math data to the actual benchmark assessments as well. All right, Ms. Chapman, do you have anything to offer for your final slide?
Which not much has changed since we talked about bench 2 data, because once we got benchmark 3 data, we're still following our same action plan, but we're refining some things. Some things that I would like to note, we do have improved student attendance, and that is in part to our new truancy officer that we have. She is working wonders with parents and making sure they're getting their students to school. I'm also continuing making phone calls when our students miss one day and they're not back the next day. So I am personally making those calls. We also have improved teacher attendance, which helps our instructional focus on tier 1, because the teachers are at school, they're able to teach students. If students are at school, they're able to learn. So we're just refining those things that we already put in place. One other thing that I wanted to mention that is different, we have implemented boot camps. So we are in the process of doing 3rd grade boot camp and a 4th grade boot camp for ELA and math to refine those ELA and math skills. We have wonderful help from central office. Ms. Sophie Butler comes over and works with our bottom quartile in math because we do not have a math interventionist. So we're working tirelessly to get those numbers up for our bottom quartile and our Works for All. Also, we have implemented after-school tutoring where we're working on ELA and math skills. We also have enrichment where students are participating in STEM activities, they're doing engineering activities, math activities, science activities, art activities. So those are a few of the things that we've been doing. We've also been engaging our parents in the Rotary Proficiency Parent Meetings, which the turnout is not at all what I expect, but for those parents that show up, we're giving them some great reading strategies to help their students become better readers. Any questions?
Any questions? Dr. Burns?
You have what you need.
I have a math intervention.
You have what you need.
No,
What do you need?
a math intervention.
Say it loud,
A math intervention.
so everybody can hear. Okay.
Anyone want more questions? Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to Summit Elementary. Summit Elementary has, of course, grades 1 through 4, but we're just talking about testing grades tonight. So with 3rd grade ELA, 52 scholars tested. Proficiency for 3rd grade ELA is at 59.6%. Growth for all is at 66.7%. And the bottom quartile is at 50%. All right, moseying on over to math, 52 tested, 65.4%. Bottom quartile is, growth for all is at 100%, and bottom quartile is at 100%. So, based on equity analytics, the grade level projection right now for the 3rd grade is at an A. Okay? Moving right along to 4th grade. 4th grade ELA at Summit Elementary, 51 tested, and proficiency we're at 47.1. Growth for all is at 64.4. Growth for the bottom quartile is at 70.5. Okay? Moving on over to math, proficiency for 2026 is 43.1%. Growth for all is at 49.5%, and bottom quartile is at 33.3. The projection right now for grade level 4 at Summit is a letter C. Okay, moving into Summit Elementary overall, for all of ELA, grades 3 and 4, and math 3 and 4. For ELA, proficiency is at 53.4%. Growth for all is at 64.5%. Bottom quartile is at 67.3%. For math, proficiency is at 54.4%. Growth for all, 53%. And bottom quartile growth is at 48.3%. So looking at the overall school projection, last year, based on benchmark data at this same time of the year, it was at a B, had it projected as a B with our in-house tool. This year, with Equity Analytics for 2026, there's a projection of a letter grade of C. Summit, would you like to add anything that you'd like to say?
Sure. In terms of good afternoon, everybody. In terms of the overall data, we are very pleased with how we are progressing. However, there is a need, as the data does definitely suggest, that there's a need for tier 3 support for mathematics, and being proactive about that type of support. Those issues where we see that there are gaps in the beginning of the year, to start early, chipping away at those gaps at the beginning of the year to support our scholars that are in the most need, that are in the bottom quartile. Right now, we have all hands on deck, central office support, by Ms. Butler. She's coming to support with math so that we can support that bottom quartile growth. We also have, that is being funded by, our title fund and interventionist that's coming now. She started right around spring break, yes, right around spring breaks. This Isaac, and she's been supporting those bottom quartile and bubble students, you know, those students that are right there, they can go either way. But fourth grade math is definitely our Achilles heel, and we are working tirelessly to make sure that we are giving them what they need. We have great attendance. We expect perfect attendance tomorrow for our third grade. They will be live tomorrow with their BLA test tomorrow. So we expect perfect attendance tomorrow as well. But again, you know, I would like to just reiterate what Ms. Chapman and Ms. Bond shared, and I'm sure Dr. Walker Burns can also back me up with this because she's a content expert in mathematics as well. Not having the tier 3 support on site that know the students and they can readily go pull the child right after that formative test or right after that confusing homework that they did, to work with them from August to test time, you know, and you know, not having to kind of wait until it's time to prep for a test. You know, we want to be bright.
So we need a math intervention.
So yeah, so I think I answered your question before you can ask me your question. We need math intervention.
We're gonna say it loud. We need a math interventionist.
Even this part time. We share though with each other. We share. Yes.
Do we have parental support?
We have parental support. And just to also reiterate what Ms. Chapman said, we had, you know, sometimes we preach to the choir, you know, those parents that are there for everything, that are supporting everything, come to our enrichment meetings, come to the after-school meetings, but sometimes those parents that are parents to the children in the bottom quartile, we aren't seeing them as much. And, you know, we're trying to do all the things possible to get them there. And I guess we can do a little more research to find out why they aren't coming to support that endeavor as well. But yes, to answer your question, we do have parental support. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you. All right, moving on to Higgins Middle School. Higgins has grades 5 and 6. So looking at 5th grade, proficiency for ELA is at 39.3%. Growth for all is at 58.6%. The bottom quartile growth is at 55%. Looking over at math, you have proficiency at 45.5%. Growth for all is at 79.5%. And the bottom quartile growth is at 85%. As you notice, for 5th grade, we have the science. The science test starts to be tested at this grade level. For science, if the proficiency was 56.7%, and science only offers proficiency. So looking at the grade level projection by AV Analytics, the grade level for 5th grade at Higgins Middle School is a B. Okay, moving on to 6th grade. 6th grade proficiency for ELA is at 38.5%. Growth for all is at 48.7%. Bottom quartile growth is at 48.3%. Going over to math, proficiency is at 50.4%. Growth for all 56.1%. Bottom quartile is at 28.3%. Grade level projection for grade 6 at Higgins Middle School is currently at a letter D. Right, moving on to the final slide for the overall school slide for Higgins, combining 5th and 6th grade ELA, 5th and 6th grade math, and including science. Proficiency for ELA is at 38.9, growth for all is at 54 even, bottom quartile 52.2. Math proficiency is at 47.8, bottom quartile 68.5, and 58.8 for bottom quartile growth. For science at this point, proficiency is at 56.7. Last school year, with just the in-house tools, the projection was a B. And for this year with AP Analytics, it is projected at a letter grade of C. Ms. Woods, would you all like to have any words about your findings?
We covered everything that we're doing during the SARS report, but if you all have any questions, we'll come forward.
I have a question. And it may not necessarily be just for Higgins, because I think I was trying to ask that question a minute ago when Summit gave their information. For the middle school student, statistical data indicates that that's where a student decides if he's going to drop out of school. And I'm always wondering, we have different variables that we don't have any much control over except when we receive them, trying to tackle those variables. I just wish that when we receive information that we're given an idea of what the student-to-teacher ratio is. And I say that in the times that I've worked as a teacher, one of my things is knowing that there can be what I call, as a movement, I call it a setup for failure, where the teacher has more than they can actually deal with. When we're hearing things like needing a tier 3 supports, a math interventionist and what have you, I just wondered for Higgins, what does our teacher-to-student ratio look like for our math and our English language arts?
Our student-teacher ratio is approximately 25 students to 1 teacher. We do not have assistant teachers in our classroom. We have assistant teachers that work with our special services department. So we're looking at about 25 students per one. It is a struggle without an interventionist. We are blessed to have the ELA interventionist at Higgins because it's with improvement. And so without the math interventionist, it has been a struggle. We've been putting some other things in place to make sure that those students are being serviced. But of course, with that number of students in the classroom with one adult, of course, it's going to add extra stress. You don't get to do individualize as much as you would like to, which is why it affects those bottom numbers.
Okay, thanks.
Is there any way we can have, opt-in as well as some answer that question?
I really suggest that Mr. Vic get the information and get back to the board with all the schools that we can have the accurate information and we're not just answering at the hip. But it's higher. It's a higher ratio. Yes. And then what we can have for all the schools.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, moving into secondary, 7th grade, Denton High School for ELA. Proficiency for ELA is at 25.4%, growth overall is at 31%, bottom quartile growth is 34.4%. For math, proficiency is at 41%, growth overall is at 41.2%, and bottom quartile growth is at 19.5%. So grade level projection at this time, based on AP Analytics, is a letter grade of an F. Right, moving to 8th grade, and again, noticing that science is as well on this scoreboard. Science is tested in grades 5 and 8. Looking at ELA proficiency, you have 27.2%, growth overall at 35%, bottom quartile growth is at 42.9%. Math proficiency is at 39.4%. Growth overall 37.3%, and bottom quartile is at 32.6%. Moving over to science, proficiency is at 47.1%, Currently for grade 8 as a grade level projection, it is a letter grade of an F. Moving into Denman Junior High's overall with 7 ELA and math put together each category with science. Proficiency is at 26.4%, growth for all 33.1%, bottom quartile is at 38.8%. Math is at 40.2%, growth for all 39.2%, bottom quartile overall is 26.5%, science is 47.1%. Last school year, if you look at the data, going back and looking at the data for 7th and 8th grade for last year, it looks a little bit high. And so the projection last year was at a letter C, but there were some things with the testing environment that kind of inflated those grades, which gave a better prediction of what it actually ended up at the end of the school year. So right now, for this current year, based on the equity analytics, the school projection right now is a letter grade of an F. Mr. Wells, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
I'd like to say that we've actually looked at our data. We actually have a math interventionist, we have data consultant that's working, and we've taken this data and we're looking where our students are strong, and we're actually working to enhance those skills. We're working with our SPED department as well, and we're providing support to our SPED students and our EL students, so we can make sure that we're providing support to them so that we can put those points on the board as well.
Any questions from them?
Question. For you, Mr. Wells, in equity analytics, do you feel that equity analytics is a good measure to use for our students?
I think it's going to push us to reach our level.
Thanks.
Can I add something, just really briefly? This year with Master Connect and Equity Analytics, of course, we work in tandem. Of course, we assess in Master Connect is where we actually take the assessment. So once we get the data back from Master Connect, then we transfer it into Equity Analytics. So it does all the compiling and putting everything together. So this year, Master Connect has started something a little bit different. It's research-based where it's called linear equating. And with the linear equating, what it does is it takes each assessment that the child takes, and it kind of does like a compilation of what that student will be projected to be in the end. And when we looked at the data, Mr. Wells and I, along with the math coach that's there from Bailey, we looked at it, and the cut scores are always a moving target. You can never just pinpoint where the cut score is. Now, the scale scores in reference to what the State Department sees, those things are going to stay the same. But depending on the number of questions, you have text complexity, the different forms, that they be getting of the test, you can never mimic it perfectly, not to the state test. So some of those cut scores are kind of back and forth. So where when we look at a student who may have scored a level 5, and traditionally we say, okay, this student made like a 90 on the test. We classify them as a level 5 student, an advanced student. Well, with the linear equating, it kind of backed it down a little bit because it's looking at their performance across the 3 tests. So it's saying, well, this student who we normally project as a level 5, well, it's carefully looking at them across the board, and it may be saying, well, they're a level 4. So when you do that in certain areas, it kind of messes with your data, so a little bit. So there could be some, I don't want to say discrepancies, but we want to make mention of that because it's just a new way of them doing things to make sure that we get the best prediction possible at the end of the test. And my thing, and I know that gets a little frustrating with teachers, but I say you would rather look like you're kind of under the bar right now than you look up here and you're really not there, and then it surprises you in the end. So I just wanted to add that to that because we had a big conversation. We did a lot of digging with that data to go through that.
I appreciate that because that's what I was sensing when we talk about the data that we're having presented to us. Where are we in terms of truly measuring where our students actually are? Thanks. You're welcome.
And Ms. Boyd, that's kind of what happened last year.
Yes, sir.
Especially in the case of them, like we were seeing C, we were seeing this, but that didn't play out in the end result. Now, we do feel confident that we got a good handle on what our students are doing. And right now, Mr. Wells, you have 7 consultants group working with him. He has Bailey, he has Harper working with him. They have identified those students and they are working every day to get what those students need to be performing at the highest level.
And those students also tested the wisdom supplementary at that time, so they may not have been their best emotional stability. And so I just want, you don't want to make an excuse. I do applaud you for that, but I do want to recognize that they were actually going through some emotional trauma during that time.
The only thing I think that, maybe not so much of a question as it may be something that we can look at when we are analyzing the data is to see if there may be a difference in the way that the scholars are presented the testing items in the different formats. Because sometimes that may affect the way that the data is analyzed, the way that the question is presented.
That is one of the first things that we do when we do get data back, because if a test has only maybe 3 or 4 questions in a certain standard, well, it's not really fair to say out of 2 or 3 questions that a child doesn't know the standards, because they've been taught the whole year. So what we do is we sit down and we pull out the questions and we immediately go and see how was it asked. Because just because, like I said, 2 questions on the test, and if I miss both of them, doesn't mean that I totally do not know the standard. It could be totally the way that it is asked. So that is one of our main focuses of what we do initially once we get the test results and go with each grade.
Do we have any more questions for Mr. Wells? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wells.
And last, but surely not least, we will take a look at Macomb High School. With Macomb High School, we changed just a little bit at the end, because when you all actually received the packet, the high school was in the middle of taking their semester 2 benchmark. So Ms. Mason and I, we got together and said, hey, maybe if we can get it back, we can present that tonight as their comprehensive piece and not a bench 1 piece. So we were able to get that data in, and so we got it on the slide for you all tonight. And Ms. Mason, if you want to go ahead and pass out your piece, and that way you all will have a look at everybody's comprehensive data across the board.
Thank you.
All right, so looking at each category, English 2, Algebra 1, and biology, looking for the current semester 2 bench 2 column here, proficiency in ELA is at 41.8%, roll for all is at 53.2%, by quartile 53.8%. Quickly looking at Algebra 1, 62.6% proficiency, 74.3% roll for all, and 89.8% in the bottom quartile. Science right now is at 76.8%. Last year, at benchmark time, using our in-house tools, we had the high school slated to be a letter D, and right now, according to Equity Analytics, we have the high school slated at a letter C.
Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, which we really, we plan to continue to increase our student growth and proficiency by targeting instruction, maximizing instructional time,
and providing strategic interventions for our low performing students and our local students. Each of us have taught in several areas, so we will discuss our areas. I will go biology 1 first. The goal for biology 1 is to move our level 3 students to be level 4 or 5 proficient by targeting gaps, strengthening application skills, and increasing confidence with tested materials. We plan to do that by identifying our level 3 and mobile kids. We will do small proficiency pushes, which means we're not trying to reteach the information, but push the proficiency. Taking 15 to 20 minutes of small group time with those students to make sure they understand the questions. We'll look at high frequency testing standards and skills they particularly already understand. We will shift from recall to them actually being able to explain why the answer is what it is. We provide them with release test items constantly, so they will see those test items, and the more they see the test items, the better they'll be able to answer those questions. And we're also going to point out the vocabulary that is embedded in the question, so they can explain vocabulary and actually explain what the question is asking them, and they'll be more apt to answer.
I'll go next. For our ELA plan, we have targeted small group instruction, and what that means is that inside the classroom, we're going to use centers. And each group will rotate around to the teacher's table. And at that table, the teacher will have time to do specific intervention based on what the deficiency of the student. Also, we'll have standard-based skill reinforcement. We're going to use the test questions that were in Master Connect and the ones that relate to the test directly, so that the students are able to see that vocabulary and to break it down in a way where they understand what the question is actually asking. That's very important. Our third point for ELA is we're using Ms. Dr. Harper, the consultant, and she's going to be pulling groups of students who maybe 3s or 4s, she's going to be moving them towards proficiency in advance. That's going to also help us. And finally, our daily focus strategy, we're going to use a bell ringer that actually asks questions of the test. Everything's going to be directed towards our data and making sure that we're using our time efficiently with our students and that they're getting the information that they need.
For Algebra 1, we're gonna do data-driven small groups. We're gonna group them based on performance level with solving equations, functions, linear relationships, and word problem applications. We're gonna prioritize students that are close to proficiency and students that are showing partial understanding. We're also gonna do teacher table instruction. There's gonna be teacher-led intervention groups, and we're gonna focus on problem solving, common mistakes, and we're gonna give corrective feedback. The third thing is file review and skill practice. Students are gonna have a daily mixed review where they're doing 5 to 10 problems that focus on previously taught standards and common test question formats. They're gonna show their work and explain reasoning. We're gonna do targeted interventions with our global students, put them in small groups. We're gonna do reach each session, practice with similar test questions, and they're gonna track their weekly progress. We also have boot camp. Our seniors just participated in a boot camp on the 9th. They actually took their Algebra 1 test on last Friday. And we have a boot camp set aside for the spring first-time testers and retesters on the 28th of April through the 30th. And they're from the Kirkland group, and they're giving them Desmo strategies, 6 strategies.
And as a whole, the school, we are going to continue to motivate students daily with our announcements, encouraging them to come to school and to do their best, not just our students, but also our teachers. Because when we get these scores back in June, Macomb High School will be a 6.7 or higher with 11 grade.
Any questions for Ms. Mason and assistant principal at the high school?
Ms. Sherman, just keep in mind, the school board, that the high school has a lot of those other points on the board too. And we have a celebration, we got new enrollment and advanced placement. We got the ACT that's coming up this month, am I correct?
Yes.
And bigger, we have our graduation rate. So the high school is on a 1,000-point scale. There's a lot more points out there, and I haven't even mentioned work keys. We have students that score platinum and gold on B&T. So all that's going to factor into their overall number this summer, okay? You wanna talk anything about the ACT, Ms. Mason?
It is scheduled for the 21st. We're taking it next week with our juniors, and our juniors took a pre-test last semester. So they extended the test. It won't be their first time taking it, when they take it for the state ACT.
Any more questions, board?
Do we have, an estimation of what our, graduation rate looks like?
We do.
I don't know that number at all.
Okay, and also,
I want to say $83. I mean, don't be close to that. But we were pleased to hear when we got the number back.
okay, and next question is, what are your goals, your accountability goals for this year?
We will be higher than a 627, which is a 6.
Anything else for the high school?
I have one comment, not necessarily a question. For me to sit here as a school board member, looking at English, language arts, algebra, and biology, power team, I am expecting to see what we've heard we're gonna receive. So all I can see, the forecast is good news. So good luck to y'all.
Is this the first time that you use the table?
I'm sorry.
Will this be the first time that you use the teacher table?
No, so, no, it's not the first time we've done it.
Thank you.
That's it, that concludes our data benchmark.
Thank you. At this time, can I have a motion to review of the minutes?
I move that we review and approve of the minutes.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Next, can I have a motion to review and approve of financial statements?
I move that we review and approve the financial statements.
Can I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns about financial statements? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Nay. Can I have a motion to review and approve of claims document?
I move that we review and approve of claims dockets.
Can I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion to review and approve of claims document in a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nay. Next, we have the recording presentation of the business of the superintendent.
Thank you, Madam President. We have, first we have number 116, section 4. Brown.
We've got one of the police down at the, county right now, the approved by supervisor, will file it and move it up to the, Secretary of State's website.
Any questions or concerns about 16th section?
Thank you, Madam President. Any questions or concerns about 2, 3, 4? Teacher attendance, program breakdown.
Any questions or concerns about reports 2, 3, and 4?
Thank you, Madam President. Number 5, teacher, student,
Alright, good evening again, everybody. We want to just take a few minutes and read by school to recognize the teachers of the month, students of the month, and staff of the month at each location for the month of March. We'll start with Kennedy Elementary School. Teacher of the month is Shana Robinson. Staff of the month, Kimberly Wells. Students of the month, Pre-K, Ethan Martin, and kindergarten, Drury Carr. Summit Elementary, teacher of the month, Sanetta McCray. Staff of the month, Timothy Coleman. Students of the month, first grade, Michael Kaiser. Second grade, Travis Wilkinson. 3rd grade, Dominic Vega. 4th grade, Joshua Parker. Ogden Elementary, Teacher of the Month, Tanika Smith. Staff of the Month, Monica Patrick. Students of the Month, 1st grade, Edward Nunnery. 2nd grade, Paisley Jackson. 3rd grade, Alina Egan. 4th grade, Riley Jackson. Higgins Middle School, Teacher of the Month, Shannon Weatherspoon. Staff of the Month, Sherry Sawyer. Students of the Month, 5th grade, Aiden Robertson. 6th grade, Jaden Marsall. Denton Junior High School, Teacher of the Month, Sherette Lee. Staff of the Month, Rita Coon. Students of the Month, 7th grade, Taylor Daniel. 8th grade, Haley Eubanks and Serenity White. Macomb High School, Teacher of the Month, Geraldine Putman. Staff of the Month, Quiana Holmes. Student of the Month, 9th grade, Morris Gatlin. 10th grade, Jordan Beery. 11th grade, Keenan Lewis. 12th grade, Deshaun Long. Business and Technical Complex, Teacher of the Month, Cheryl Santangelo. Student of the Month, Renaya McGee. TAC, Teacher of the Month, Lindsay Bates. Staff of the Month, for Macomb High School, Marcel Winding. Denton Junior High, Zoe Anderson. Higgins Middle School, Marvin Swington. Support School of the Month. Higgins Middle School had the most teachers visit the TAC during the month of March. Thank you to all the teachers who continue to support our schools at the alternative school. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the list, and can we give those recognized a round of applause?
Thank you, Ms. Bowman.
Next, we have the consent agenda. 1 through 2.
Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda items 1 and 2.
Can I have a second?
Second motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Madam President, we have C, regular agenda. Number 1, approval of 26-27 school board meeting date.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Number 2, we have approval of paid school holidays.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Number 3, we have approval of the depository deed.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Number 4, we have approval of salary scale for pay discussion.
Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the salary pay scale discussion.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
That's actually the way it's, written out. It's a policy. That's a policy. Is there something you need to change? I have a motion and a second. Can we discuss it? Because it's a discussion. Mr. Big?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. The school board, as most of you know, we were making consideration going to a 5-monthly pay scale versus a monthly pay scale. One of the things that I was asked to do was look into feasibility of it before going to a bi-monthly versus monthly. So I did reach out to, about 18 different school districts, including the ones that had, intended to go bi-monthly. There were 4 school districts that intended to go bi-monthly. There were Greenwood, Ford Consolidated, Holly Springs, Lowndes County, and Harrison County. And I talked to each one of those superintendents and assistant superintendents. Greenwood, Ford Consolidated made the decision because of these constraints, salary cost issues with adding new positions. They decided to back out of the bi-monthly payroll. For the same reason, Lowndes County backed out. Harrison County did decide to pay their hourly employees bi-monthly, so their certified employees still remain monthly scale. Holly Springs was the only district that I found in the state that actually is truly donating bi-monthly payroll for everybody. They have like 174 employees, so they do definitely do a bi-monthly for all of their employees. So I talked with the assistant superintendent there, she explained to me how it works. And then we were gonna do it, now we have time to do it, because they use Marathon the same way we use Marathon. There have to be a lot of changes made within the Marathon system for it to work, okay? But totally, we have 142 school districts in the state. 140 is on monthly payroll. Now, we tell some of those other superintendents to kind of just talk about some of the concerns they have. And there was some very concern about going to bi-monthly and some of the constraints and challenges that it places on the district. And I think I've sent most of you guys a list of those concerns. And they consisted of, just to give you a summary, when you go to bi-monthly, a lot of times you have to pay your employee before the state send funds to you. So if you reach to a certain point of the school year, like in November, December, when we're kind of low, most school districts, not just us, kind of low on funds because our ed for Lauren has been kind of going down. That becomes a challenge for making payroll when you're on a bi-monthly. And another concern that some of the other districts had and was considered going on bi-monthly was we have several short months. They found it very challenging how to handle December, how to do March and November. So because of just a lot of issues like that, they felt like it was just more feasible to remain monthly than to take on those challenges of a bi-monthly payroll, okay? I mean, and I want to just be totally transparent about what I found. And that wasn't the total sample, there were like 18 superintendents that I talked to, including the ones that were trying to consider to go into bi-monthly, okay? So, just based on what I learned, and it took me a couple of weeks to put all this together and time to reach out to each one of them. Just given where we are right now, I don't feel like it's the best time to go to a bi-monthly payroll. It's given some of the challenges that we will face. Are there any questions?
Yes, sir, I have a question, because you mentioned that you had the one school district that decided to have it with their hourly wage employees.
Yes, ma'am.
And it worked out pretty much for them. Is it something that we could do maybe? And I'm asking that question in that the hourly wage employee, it may help. As far as employment, I'm not sure, but I just wondered if we visited that as a possibility for just the hourly wage.
I would like to chime in. So Harrison County has 400 hourly employees that they do that for. My issue is that we've been talking about this since June of last year. So I just feel like, and I know his recommendation is not to go to it, but I'm actually disappointed because we had enough time to get everything, in my opinion, set up. Because Harrison had over 4,000 employees total. 400 of those employees are hourly associates. Furthermore, other states are doing the bi-weekly, payments to the employees. And I heard us reach out to everybody with the company in which we pay to do that, and that's Marathon. But again, I understand Mr. Big, his position. But me personally, I'm actually disappointed for the school district and the whole for the employees, because every company across the nation is doing bi-weekly pay. I don't know why for us it's like pulling teeth. We went from not being able to teach kids in the classroom and then go to COVID and went a couple of years doing that virtual to not say we can't pay our employees that's having a hard time to go from December, getting a paycheck December 15th to January 30th. Some of us have the financial means to make it that far, but we have a lot of young teachers and we have a lot of single people who have multiple jobs that cannot make it. I'm actually disappointed with that. I just want to be this. I'm disappointed with that.
What I'm doing as a board member is, making sure, Mr. D, that you're aware of how I appreciate you for investigating what other school districts are doing. And I'm just at the place where I'm wondering for the hourly wage employee, if that's a possibility for you to pay bi-weekly. Have we looked at that, or is that something that's difficult to do?
No, it's not difficult to look into it. And I'll be happy to deal with that. I can look into this and get back to the board as soon as possible.
Just the option to do that could excel the image of the school district, as well as not only support the financial protocol for our employees, but it will also give them a perception that we are really concerned with our welfare and the financial welfare of our employees. In that, when we do things outside of that concern, such as staff recruitment, would be a very good element to include in our staff. And also, sometimes improve teacher attendance when they know it's a mental thing as well as a financial concern. So it may be that we can do the hourly and see how that works, and evaluate maybe later on the possibility to everybody.
Yes, sir.
So just to make sure that the minutes are clear, this is just a discussion. So I don't think the superintendent is making a recommendation, so action is not necessary. And it looks like section C needs to be moved down.
Yes.
Markups need to be moved down to section 5.
Because what happened was, this was a policy that came on the agenda last month. And I requested, because it was my understanding that, because the policy said that we pay monthly. So in that policy, it was supposed to be changed to say bi-monthly. So at this point, we would have to move it to policy revisions on number 5.
So no action on number 4. Under the regular agenda, no action.
Or would that be tabling?
No, it was just discussion, because there was no recommendation from Mr. Hicks.
He was just basically saying
Which is the
that he's
report.
not going to recommend, because he didn't even put it on the bi-weekly, but it was my understanding, and they look back in the minutes that we had approved by the monthly payment. And we've been talking about it for months, so they said they couldn't find it, that it was just approval to be discussed. And, I asked him to put it back on there, and he put it for discussion.
Number 5, approval of policy revision.
I move we approve of policy revisions.
Can I have a second? A second. I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nay?
Number 6, approval of personnel renewal classified.
I move we approve of personnel renewal classified.
Can I have a second? I second it, but, concerning the date, I would like to move all personnel into executive session because I have questions about some add-ons that was placed on us. Okay. So no vote. Next, we have number 9.
Number 9, we have approval of Macomb School District Spring Plan, third reading.
I move that we approve of the MSD strategic plan, third review.
Second motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns?
I have a concern.
Ms. Martin?
The document, to me, it looks excellent. There is one place in the final page. It's gonna be on page 10. And this page is, profile of our graduate. Where it talks about employability and career readiness. The Macomb graduates, the very last point here, it says, exhibit skills valued by colleges, employers, and training programs. The word training, it needs to be changed. I just feel like training is not a good word to use. We could use, I agree here, tutelage or professional development program. Otherwise, I am, what's it now, Mr. Harper? On page 10, where the word training is, to me, is not a good word to use when you're wanting people to understand it's next level. And so professional development or tutelage would be better words to use. Other than that, this is an excellent document to me.
I would say the word, workforce. Workforce technical programs. And it's about concern.
And the new school board members photos have been submitted, to update it. Would this be our final viewing without the pictures, Mr. Vick, or will we have one more after to correct that word?
We can definitely get one more out of it. I'll send it back out tomorrow.
Okay.
And where it says workforce program.
And technical.
I have
And that would align with the,
I have a motion and a second. Any more questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Number 10, Madam President, approval of request to advertise for bid, food service RFP.
Do I have a motion?
so,
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Number 11, approval of organization chart.
Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve of the organizational chart.
Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? To the same discussion. This attorney Dick? Okay.
Number 12, approval of IDEA budget.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Any questions or concerns?
Yes.
Dr. Burks?
Is there any reason that we do not have, included in this plan an opportunity for, indirect costs?
I'm gonna defer that to
Ms. Carter? Repeat the question.
Is there a reason that we don't have, a line item for indirect costs?
I think the indirect cost is, it calculates itself, but that's my straight look that I was given for us.
So you don't have room to have in case incidental that you got. I don't know, particular rate was fed, I just, as I studied it, I didn't see, a line for indirect costs for those things. Well, I see that in indirect costs for transfers out, but I didn't see it might be something that's related, so that it give you some room, some cushion.
Any more questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Number 13, approval or non-approval of donation 722 Blue Line Avenue. Madam President and School Board, I recommend that we do not approve this donation because of the potential cost to the district.
Do I have a motion for non-approval of donation?
I move that we non-approve of the donation.
Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second to non-approve of this donation. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Number 14,
Of course, will we forward a communication to the city?
Yes, sir.
number 14, approval of budget increase.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns?
The request for the budget increase, asking for $100,000. Correct? And it indicates that it's for, computer equipment and other technology, technology. Will we ask?
It
So that
said,
it will not be, confused or misunderstanding.
Yes, sir.
About 55,000 is gonna be for desks for the new building. So that's what they're gonna purchase desks for the new building, that's Summit. And then the other eight, the boards for the teachers' classroom.
Okay.
Set up all the classroom.
And this is coming from this budget.
It's coming from this, right?
Right, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And school board, with the lead time that we have for all these desks and things of that nature, we want to go ahead and make these other things again so that the new edition will be ready for our kids, in late July.
They're, ready to purchase, we just waiting for the, approval.
Okay, well, when we talk about desks and so forth, do we have to go through the bidding process?
No, sir,
No,
because this
sir.
was over, 75,000. So we just, go through the whole process.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Number 15, approval of certified administrative salary scale.
Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve, certified administrator salary scale.
Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concern? I have a concern. Go ahead, Dr. Burns.
I was asking who that is.
Okay. We're gonna move into executive session.
Next, we have miscellaneous business.
Oh, we got it.
Excuse me, number 16, approval of school improvement plan.
Do I have a motion?
Move we approve the school improvement plan.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concern?
Yeah, one question.
Dr. Burns?
I see that when I set these budgets, these plans, the intent for inland, are we, on what particular inland, is there a reason that we don't have, or we have a plan in place where we're not, to accommodate the need for the conventions? Are we using the MTSS or what is the intent? That I noticed it.
Wait, I'm sorry, I can't read the full portion out.
But, okay, in the plan, do we have, what is the intent to, I noticed that it does not have, dimensions. Okay, so are we, how are we gauging that?
We are proposing, I don't know this before you, I don't believe it's gonna come all of the companies on. But what we have asked of our superintendent is that we reinstate 3 math coaches, 3 ELA coaches, and also add a new MTSS position. All of those persons have served in a coaching role and in the interventions role, and we want to divide them according to grade bands so that they can support teachers as well as help tier 2 and tier 3 interventions.
That will address, of course, there's more than as earlier, as well.
And 2 of them, the MTSS persons have backgrounds in mathematics, and then we're gonna have 3 mathematics coaches. So we hear them, and we are responding to them, and we will ensure, Ms. Bo and I will be working together to ensure everyone has what they need. As far as academic support and being proactive, then we start to deal with that. And if we reinstate that, then we can save dollars from bringing external providers that are not here every day. These persons will be job embedded, which means they're right there co-teaching, modeling, and assisting and giving feedback.
Which would be more beneficial to our scholars than just having someone coming in at given periods. They'll be there, resourceful, and, anything. So that's the reason why I was asking that. So really, we have to adjust this plan next month, or will we have funds?
We have funds already approved in the current Title I budget, which you have 15 months to expend that budget, so their salary for next year is already approved.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Bridges, the school improvement plan, it is not a large budget, but it can use her own funds, another town source.
And so we did it also because, we do we're on schedule, we expand, and we'll have 2 weeks where we are going to do a fall and a spring, 2-week intercession. And so what we're asking is during those days, so whether a teacher would like to work or not, we'll have those individuals at MTSS persons who will assist with our students and give them that additional time and support during that break.
Any more questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Madam President, we have D, miscellaneous business. Number 1, approval of resolution honoring Pastor Robert Vick Jr. and Mrs. Pearl Vick.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Number 2, we have approval, non-approval of our district transfer.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
13, we have personnel recommendation. Number 14, we have volunteers.
Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the volunteer recommendation.
Second motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? At this time, we'll have a closed determination upon the issue of whether or not to enter into executive session. Can I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go into a closed determination of whether or not to enter into executive session. All in favor? Aye.
Right.
Opposed? to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, two motions and two seconds.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Yeah, I got to sign.